Hello, I am Barendipitous here with another video for the TTRPG shelf, and yeah, I'm going to talk about the Waterdeep adventures. So normally I would have two books here: Waterdeep Dragon Heist and Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Dungeon of the Mad Mage is not in my house and won't be for a while because I have that. I'm running a campaign. I'm running a D&D campaign with it with some coworkers, and like over lunch, we basically play D&D over lunch like once a week or something. So I do not have that book here, but I will describe it. Um, so, yeah, Waterdeep is the name of a city in the Forgotten Realms, which is the standard Dungeons and Dragons world. Although you can run Dungeons and Dragons in any world you want, and even your own. But most of but like the Forgotten Realms is like sort of the standard setting that all of these books are sort of written in, and you can change whatever you want. But Waterdeep is one of the biggest cities in the Forgotten Realms, and the first half of the Waterdeep books is called Dragon Heist. There's some really cool ideas in here. Most other adventures are very there's a lot of exploration, there's a lot of combat. There, of course, would be interacting with NPCs and various plot hooks and things like that. This one is, but those other ones tend to be heavier on exploration and combat. This Dragon Heist is very much focused on some exploration and some combat, but very heavily on the social and intrigue aspects of fantasy role playing games. So the idea is that in this world, dragons. I mean, there are real dragons. There are actual dragons in the world, but dragons is also the name for these gold coins with the dragon symbol on them. So if you're saying you have a handful of dragons, that means you have a handful of gold coins. And so what this is saying is this is a heist of, I think, like half a million dragons, half a million gold pieces. And there are four villains that, I mean, obviously anyone would want that kind of money, but there are four villains in particular that want that money for their own ends. And they're all pictured here on this cover. And so when you run this adventure, I mean, everything is really guidelines as far as these books go, right? But as written, this book suggests that you choose one of the four seasons: spring, summer, autumn, or winter. And Waterdeep sort of like changes through the seasons, right? So whichever season you choose, there is a villain for that particular season, right? I believe so. This guy is winter. This guy with the hat is autumn, I believe. This guy back here with the one eye is spring, and this couple is summer. I don't remember all the names. I remember this guy's name is Jarlaxle. This guy is Xanathar. These two are a wealthy couple, and this is a cloistered a hermit wizard. But they all want this money for different reasons, whether it be for like a demon ritual or to further their the interests of their gang, or to try to take over the world, or to just or further their own just pirate interests and things like that. It's really cool. You're very much steeped in deep in this cool city of Waterdeep, and Waterdeep is a cool city. I learned a lot about. This is a cool illustration of the Yawning Portal Tavern, so named because it has this big hole in the middle where adventurers can go up and down to reach a mega dungeon, which I'll talk about briefly a little bit later. By the way, if you know Matt Mercer is actually pictured here, reading a book, like an actual a famous dungeon master. Anyway, fun stuff. This is Volo, by the way. He's the guy who wrote Volo's Guide to Monsters. But yeah, essentially, through this adventure, you kind of generally you go from level 1 to level 5, and you sort of learn about this this horde of half a million dragons, half a million gold coins, and you also end up sort of in charge of a tavern. So this is sort of your neighborhood, and it talks about who your neighbors are, people you can talk to, and that sort of thing. It's very so if most of the other D&D adventures are open world, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Skyrim kind of stuff, Dragon Heist is more is smaller but very dense. I can't remember. I know there are some games that have done that in the past. I'm drawing a blank on what they, but you know, if you think of video games where like it's technically like open world, but the open world is like a couple city blocks, but there's a lot to do in those city blocks. That's what this is. It is smaller, but denser, and there's a lot of things you can do here. And so yeah, it talks about the various villains and what they do when certain things happen. Um, there's like a MacGuffin that's supposed to help lead you to the treasure. Oh, here's something cool. Okay, so again, like a theme in this is the different seasons, right? And so in this book, a cool thing that they've done is they have these art pieces where they follow these three children. They're not. I don't think they're like important NPCs, but they're just sort of like these are basically sort of illustrating the setting. So we have springtime here, and we have the shadow of this sort of like orb, like like this is a beholder, like this shape right here with the sort of like eye stalks and the round body. That's a beholder, and so these guys have come across the beholder, and apparently they've lived to tell the tale because a little bit later, in the summertime, uh, we have those same kids kind of out on the street, and they sort of encounter one of the wife of the wealthy couple who wants the money for something like demonic ritual or something. The Or something about a devil's deal or whatever. In the autumn, these kids are out on like a shipyard area, sort of like role playing as Jarlaxle, the infamous pirate, and everything. And then later, yep, a stingray ship. You saw that, right? And then in winter, there should be coming up here soon. Here we go. Yeah, we have those same kids playing around in the snow. I think that's really cool. But yeah, and then there's just information about Waterdeep as a city, the customs, the currency, the holidays, the culture, and things like that. Like I read through this and I had a lot of fun, kind of like getting the players involved in the city itself. There's these giant statues and wizard towers everywhere. The government of Waterdeep and everything. Magic items, lots of really cool things. I really love running this adventure because of, it's not very often that you get like a campaign set just in a city, basically, and yeah, of course, a map. This time of Waterdeep, and so we got the Waterdeep is kind of separated into different districts. And the book talks about the different districts, and the player version as well. This is the DM's map because it's labeled more, and then the player's version doesn't have as many labels. So yeah, I'll also take a moment to talk about the other book, which again I don't have here. I have it at work because I use the book over there. But so after levels 1 through 5, and like you go through this, you could continue the adventure with Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage. So in this Yawning Portal Tavern, where they had this picture here earlier, this portal, this hole right here in the tavern, you go down and it goes to a mega dungeon called Undermountain. It is aptly named because so imagine how big one dungeon is. Like maybe think of like a Zelda dungeon. Think of like two water temples from Ocarina of Time or something like that, right? Maybe two or three of those. Combine that, and that's like one. Like consider that as like one like pretty big D&D dungeon. Okay, now imagine that dungeon. 23 of them stacked on top of each other. Down, 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 deeper and deeper and deeper. There's 23 dungeon levels. Each of them is distinct and unique. They have their own flavors, their own like different groups of creatures are controlling different areas of Undermountain. At the very bottom, level 23, is the Mad Mage himself, Hallister. And for the way that Dungeon of the Mad Mage is run, that is very much explore one room after another, pick up a quest here in the Yawning Portal, go down the hole, go down a few levels to try to fulfill the quest, go back up, get your payment, get another quest, go back down, and go deeper and deeper and deeper because it gets more and more difficult as you go down. And so I've been running that game with my coworkers for over a year at this point, and or like I guess almost 2 years at this point. Um, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We've been going through it very slowly just because we only play like 1 hour a week. But I love Dungeon of the Mad Mage because there's so many cool, crazy like ideas and stuff in there, and who doesn't love a good dungeon crawl? And Dungeon of the Mad Mage gives you 23 really good dungeons. Um, there's like, and well, I don't know how spoiler I want to get with with these videos, but like there's a dungeon that's like a labyrinth with like an announcer voiceover. There's a dungeon that's like teleports you to an asteroid orbiting in space. There's a dungeon that's has like a miniature castle inside. You have to. There's a dungeon that has a whole forest. There's a I should say levels, not dungeon. There's a level with like a whole forest in it, things like that. So yeah, very cool. I love both Waterdeep books, and been so yeah, lots of really awesome ideas, and Waterdeep Dragon Heist has a lot of cool things to help you with any kind of like if you want to run a more urban kind of adventure. This is perfect for you. If you want like an enormous like dungeon with level upon level upon level upon level, um, and if you love just like dungeon crawling, then Dungeon of the Mad Mage is perfect for you. So, anyway, that's all I've got for now. So, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, all the best.